I'm Courtney Shaw. We're continuing our new series for September called Setting a Strong Family Foundation. You know, today's families can come in many different forms. There's blended families, foster families, single parent families, and so on. But I've invited my friend Amber Callahan on to tell her story about how God called her and her husband to open up their homes to be foster parents and adopted parents. Amber is a powerhouse singer, but she's a passionate woman who loves Jesus, her family, music, and selling houses. She also loves helping other realtors retire. I love that. She's very passionate about fostering and adoption, church planning, entrepreneurship, and living her best life while doing it with her tribe. I love that because you got an amazing tribe, Amber. Well, welcome to the Authentic Living Show.
Thank you, Courtney. It's good to be here.
Oh, it's great to have you. Well, I get the joy of hearing you help lead praise and worship at Journey. And you just have this gift to get us right into the presence of the Lord. If you came on with some funk on you, it was broken off. You leave feeling lighter and brighter, just like your sparkly shirt and that spiky hair. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you and your husband do?
Well, thank you. That is very kind. And I love worshiping with our team there at Journey. So if you don't have a church home, come join us because we do enjoy worshiping the Lord together. My husband and I have been married for about 8 years, and we are both full-time realtors and very, very busy parents. We have 3 2-year-olds and are still fostering. So we have a 4-year-old as well that's been with us off and on for the last 2 years. And life is busy, but it's good. It's really good. I don't know. I don't even know what all to share. It's a good situation right now.
Well, it's really inspiring to see you all together. And I remember we were out and about running around town doing some stuff with Habitat, and we ran into your husband, and he had some clients with him that he was taking. He's like, you got to connect me with, I got to connect you with you and my wife. She's a powerhouse like you. And I'm like, well, I appreciate that. And so when I finally got to meet you, I definitely see God glowing in and through you. And so I want to talk about your family journey too, because obviously you come from a huge family. I mean, I think your family takes up half the church building.
Yeah, I'm the oldest of 7. My parents took literal to the idea of, increase and multiply. They're also adoptive parents. And so I think that's where some of that seed got planted early on. But yes, I'm part of a huge clan or tribe or family, whatever you want to call it these days.
And it's so cool to see that. And, you all are big supporters of one another. So when did this journey start with you and your husband where you really felt this call to become adoptive parents and foster parents?
Well, that started at Journey, actually, where we were at church. There was a family that we met that had been fostering for quite some time, and they had adopted several children. And I think between the two of them, they have 22 kids. They go to Journey with us, so I'll have to connect you. Their story is pretty incredible. But that was really interesting. My parents had been working. We grew up on the mission field a little bit here and there, and so they already had started a halfway home for orphans that once they go out of the orphanage, they were able to come in. So a lot of really early seeds that I didn't necessarily know was going to lead to this, to fostering. But we knew that adoption was something that we were interested in. We just didn't know what the plan for fostering would be. So long story short, my husband and I, like so many couples, we were like, we want to start a family. We got married in our early 30s. And so that timeline seemed to be coming faster, than later. So, when things weren't working out in our normal way of thinking, we started looking at other options to just bless kids. We're like, well, this will probably happen at some point, but until then we can help.
You can open your heart.
We had all of our friends were doing these things and we weren't being part of those things. And we kind of wanted to just give the extra energy and love that we had to somebody else. And we just decided that God's grace for us is giving us a second chance in so many areas of our life constantly. And what better way to support a community and really show somebody in a very tangible way the grace of God than to say, you know what, you might not deserve this in this moment, but we're gonna partner with you and we're gonna help you and we're gonna help these kids. So that's what we decided to do, and we did it, and it was awesome.
That's incredible. And you hear all kinds of stories when it comes to fostering too. Sometimes you hear some of the horror stories and you're like, oh boy, okay, God, I really prayed about this. I felt called to do it, but what did I get myself into? So did you guys have any of those type of experiences? Because a lot of, sometimes when you get the little ones, they haven't gone through some of the traumatic things as some of the older ones have, or at least they don't remember it. So what was your initial experience bringing foster children into the home?
Well, we did do very young children, and that's true. There's a lot of stories that you'll hear out there for fostering. And unfortunately, a lot of those stories are probably relatively accurate. And I think that our community needs to be aware that this is a very difficult ministry to be part of. And there's a lot of ways that you can help with that without even being a foster family. And we can touch on that later. But yes, we've had some really crazy stuff that has gone on. We've had some really challenging moments. Our son Grayson that we've adopted, we thought multiple times that we were going to wind up losing him in that process, just because the government was never intended to be a parent. And they do their very best, but they're not a parent, you know? And so I think believers and people in our community have to come around and be aware, because I was so unaware. I had no idea. I mean, I knew that I liked adoption and I knew that I thought that that was a great thing, but I did not know. You just don't know what you don't know. So get involved.
Absolutely.
Involved. Find somebody that you know or that somebody else knows and then ask them.
Yeah, and I think that's the best reference too, is a family that's already kind of been down that path. And so speaking of that path, obviously there's difficulties and there's joys, but there's also some heartache too. And you're not necessarily guaranteed, right, to be able to adopt that child or keep them long term. So, how do you deal with that heartache where you get so attached to these children and you start dreaming for their future and how they're become an intricate part of your family? So how has God really given you wisdom to walk through that part of this challenge?
For us, and we are experiencing that even right now as we speak. I won't get into the details. There's just not enough time, but we are going through that right now. And we've been through that already before. And it is very hard. You hear people say, oh, I could never give them back. And I'm like, well, trust me, I love them just as much as I love my own child. And it's not about giving them back. It's about like a total reunification of the relationship. And God came to like reunify us with him. So the only thing that I can say is that he will give you the grace to do it.
Amen.
And the strength to do it. It is not always fun. It is heartbreaking. It is a lot of time and energy. And I don't say that to discourage anybody from doing it, but I'm a real person.
Right.
I'm like,
tell it, be authentic.
I want people, this is the place to be authentic, right? So, it's 100% worth doing. These kids need us. Their families need us. And so I think the way that we do it is we really have tried to incorporate our foster kids' families when we can into our actual life. We've invited them to church with us. We've invited them to holidays with us. We've done celebrations for the children together. And we try, as weird as it sounds, to kind of co-parent at certain times.
Sure.
And I think that's how.
And I think it's changing your perspective that God is really giving these children to steward and make such a profound deposit in their life so they know what a healthy, nurturing, safe, godly home can be like and that it is possible. And
Absolutely.
So one of the things that I love about you is just obviously your heart for your family, but also your understanding of knowing your season, because we know as moms that are working moms and have young children and involved in ministry and outreach in the community that there's no such thing as balance. But I think there is perspective in seasons. And so you had shared something really cool on Facebook the other day, and it resonated with me, and I shared it, was about the quote from Mother Teresa that said, if you want to go change the world, go home and love your family.
Absolutely.
And so talk to us about the environment at home, just being able to create a safe place of healing and where your kids can take their armor off. And what are some fun things that you do to really just make your house a home for your children?
Well, I'm glad that you said that there's no such thing as balance, because I was like, oh no, I'm going to have to be real with them. And there's not, I wouldn't say there's a perfect balance of that, but we're all doing the very best that we can.
That's right.
So for me, that looks like when I'm working, I'm pretty in the game. I mean, we do real estate, so there's not a large margin for error in my industry. I mean, we're dealing with contracts and people and money. And so I have to be focused when I'm focused. But when I'm not, I really try to just spend time with my kids. Like I try to shut that down and make those times. We try to always do dinner together. We do breakfast together every morning. So that was something that we decided early on, because we show houses in the evening and have other events and things that we have to do sometimes, dinner is a priority, but it doesn't always happen. But breakfast is like almost a standard. Like you just don't miss breakfast. So we make breakfast a big deal, and it's okay that we get wherever we're going whenever we go there. So I think just finding for your family what works, and then making sure that your kids are feeling that connection with us. So just trying to slow down, talk nicely. I mean, as silly as that sounds, like it's easy to just I have 3 2-year-olds.
Oh yeah, you're outnumbered,
so
honey.
I'm outnumbered, outgunned, and they don't all speak. So it's like jibber jabber constantly, and I'm like,
I need an interpreter stat.
Yeah, can somebody please tell? I even ask our 4-year-old sometimes, what is he asking for? And it's funny because he could
he knows.
Sometimes
he just wants
he wants
his bottle.
that thing over there, and I'm like, Awesome. Okay, let's go for that.
That is so cool. Well, I just love the joy that emanates from you and the light in your eyes when you talk about your family. And it's such an inspiration, especially for so many women out there that do feel called to the marketplace, but they also want to be present for their little ones and present for their children at home.
Possible.
And with God, all things are possible,
Absolutely.
right? And so we need his grace in the midst of the mess, right?
Yes.
To give us a beautiful message. So I want you to give our listeners your information too, because I love that you're so passionate about making a house a home, but you're also passionate about getting people in their home as well.
Absolutely. Thank you. Man, you're so good at talking, friend. I know where your gifting is at. I do. Well, our information, you can hit us up on Facebook. If you want to know about fostering in our community, I would be happy to share with you and connect you with the right people. Because, I mean, I feel very young in this. We've only been doing it 2.5 years, but it is definitely a desperate need. We started in Seminole County. We were actually licensed for a short period in Orange County during a move, and now we are in Lake County. So I've been in all 3 counties.
So you know the ropes.
I have an idea. Connections in places. So if you want to know about that, please hit us up. My Facebook is Amber Sunshine Callahan. I'm very open on Facebook with things because we just like to live openly with people, and I feel like we are a light to the world. So that is a really easy way to be positive out there. As far as our real estate community is concerned, it's sunshine.callahanexp. Hit us up on Facebook. We'd love to help you. We'd love to, find out what your goals are and your dreams are and go from there, see what God does with that.
That's awesome.
We always say he's the best realtor. He knows where, who, when, and what the budget is.
And timing, right?
Yeah, I mean, his timing is 100% perfect. So there is no late delay with God.
Amen.
So.
And he's never late, he's never early, but he's always right on time. And he truly opens up doors that no man can open and closes doors that no man can close. So I'm so grateful for you, Amber, and your friendship and your heart just to be open and transparent and authentic in the journey. But I love that God has just put his grace and his joy in the midst of all of it. It's so evident because it emanates from you. Well, this is Courtney Shaw. I've been here with Amber Callahan. We'll have all the links up on our Facebook page. Coming up next, we're going to have Keisha Robinson in the studio. She's a wife and mom of 3, and she's here to help us go from frustrated to fulfilled, because God knows we all need that when it comes to setting a strong family foundation.